Hey everyone, welcome back to Confident, Courageous, and Clear with Sherry. We are on episode number 2, and I'm super excited that you came back and joined me today. This week, we have an amazing guest that you'll hear from very soon. But as I promised, the first part of every show will be a little tidbit of information that I have learned this week based on what people are talking about. So today was an amazing morning for me. I had an opportunity to go hang out with some of my newest business friends, networking. And we listened to one of the best speakers I've heard in a long time. It was a woman from the area who is a very well respected, well known, and successful realtor. She started her own brokerage a few years ago, and she is doing a great job. And she brought us some really great information today, and it really started me thinking about a few things that women have been talking about lately. So I wanted to share some thoughts with you today. So the theme of the whole event was wildflowers. I live in Houston, and close by, about an hour outside of the city, many people drive every spring, starting around this time of the year, to have their babies, young children, sometimes seniors in high school, take their pictures with the wildflowers, which are bluebonnets in our area that grow in the median or in the empty fields along the highways. It sounds a little bit crazy, but if you've never seen a bluebonnet, they are beautiful. And so many people's pictures actually turn out very, very nice. Now, today we were talking about wildflowers and how so many times women have been told to not be the wildflower. Don't be the disruptor, but instead be the wallflower. I guess I've heard that in my own life. Years ago when I was a child, we mostly heard children should be seen and not heard. Now, I grew up with a lot of different things going on in my world. And so I always believed if I just kept to myself, just faded into the background, I would do less damage in my family when already so many things were going on. And I became that wallflower. I had it in me to be the disruptor. I had it in me to be the wildflower. I knew it deep down inside. But I think everybody's expectations of me after being in that mold for so long was to stay the wallflower. And so I did. And even after college, and even when I transitioned here to the city and started my first teaching job, for a while, I think I still stayed on that path. Now, I want to take it one step further because I believe there are 3 types of flowers. Clearly, the wallflower, which I mentioned. Now, that, if we are to relate it to a person, becomes the person who does stay on the sidelines, who waits for things to happen, who doesn't want to upset anyone with their thoughts, ideas, or opinions. But then I think about my garden outside my front door. I have a little landscaping there, and after a very dry summer and a very harsh winter, it looks pretty bad right now. I plan to spend some time next week working on it so that now that the sun is shining again and the leaves are blossoming on the trees, my little landscaping can look very, very nice. Now, I consider that the next type of flower, which I also relate to people, and that's the planned flower or the planned planting. Next week, I'll go out, I'll take everything out that is worn, that is no longer suiting me, or is on the verge of dying. I'll sit down, I'll make a new plan, I'll go buy my new plants, and I'll put them in. So let's think about that if we're thinking about women. There are women out there They're like a planned garden. They look beautiful for a long time on the outside, but when they start to fade or change or age, are they disposable? And you only get to blossom and shine when things are planned, when someone else does the planning. I think I've been that kind of person too. There was so many times in my life, if I think back, that I probably waited for somebody to give me the permission to shine. And I know when I went through my divorce in particular, my ex-husband was looking for a brighter, shinier, younger version. And because I was fading and changing, I needed to be removed and replaced with new plants. And then I think about the wildflower. Now, the wildflower is not out there doing damage, but the wildflower is disrupting. The wildflower is there on their own terms. Nobody necessarily plants them. Nobody necessarily plans them. They show up. Now, of course, they show up because of humans, right? We blow the dandelion as kids so that the dandelion seedlings blow and then regenerate dandelions, which is probably one of my favorite wildflowers. The bluebonnets are going to blow in the wind and they'll have seeds blow and regenerate as well. But we're living life on our own terms as a wildflower. We have standards, we have opinions, we have our own thoughts. And although we're going to show up as our best selves because the bluebonnets are beautiful, and in my opinion, again, so are the dandelions. And we're also having an impact. Way back when I was in high school and still had to take a home ec class, we learned how to survive by eating dandelions if we were ever left out in the wilderness or lost somewhere. Purpose. They have a purpose. So I want you to think about that this week as you are processing through your week and listening to our special guests this week. Are you a wallflower? Waiting? Staying to the side? Not causing any problems? Keeping your thoughts, ideas, and opinions to yourself? Are you a planned garden? Somebody's dictating your terms, how you're living your life, and you're disposable when you start to fade? Or are you the wildflower? Coming in beautiful and strong on your own terms, showing up, doing your own thing, and still having purpose and meaning in life while having an impact. I don't know about you, but I know which one I want to be now, and I've been all three. So my personal experience definitely tells me in which direction I want to go. So before we get to our special guest this week, I want to just say a shout out and a thank you to everybody who has been on my team since I started my journey way back in 1995 as a public educator. My colleagues, my bosses, my communities, my students, now my teachers, my staff, my family, my closest friends, people who have had an impact on me, my daughter, who always believes in my crazy ideas. Without you all in my corner, I know that I would not be where I'm at. And I want to give an extra special thank you to She Rises Studios and Phoenix TV. Hannah and Adriana, without you believing in us women, supporting women like you do, I definitely wouldn't be sitting right here today. This has been an amazing journey. I promised myself when I started my whole life, I would say yes to the things that help me be my very best. And because I said yes, I'm right here with you. So go out this week, be confident, courageous, and clear, and make life happen. Don't wait for you to just have life happen to you. Now, when we come back, you're going to hear from my amazing special guest this week. And I know you won't want to miss that. So stay tuned because it's going to be a fantastic interview. Hey there, everyone. As I promised at the beginning of our show, we have an amazing guest with us today. Not only can I call her my friend, but she's also my colleague and a woman that you want to hear from. She has been through some things in life and come out thriving on the other side, just like we talk about here on Confident, Courageous, and Clear. So let me introduce to you my friend, Dr. Denise Mustin. Hey,
Hi.
Dr. Mustin.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Let me tell my audience a little bit about you, and I'm going to let you talk a little more.
Sounds good.
All right, sounds great. Dr. Mustin is a public school educator, and she has been doing this for 30 years. I thought I had done it a long time. I'm only at number 28. You got me beat a little bit. But not only that, but Denise is also a mom, a grandma, a wife, and a mom to some fur babies, which, of course, that touches my heart as well. However, when Denise was young, she had a little bit of tragedy in her life. She had a situation where her dad just didn't show up when she was expecting him to. And it really rocked her world, just like it can do to so many women. And because of that, she developed some anxiety and this fear that people were going to leave her in life. And it really changed your path for a long time, which led to ultimately making some decisions that probably were not the best. And she had to make some choices. And like so many women, we have to know whether we're just going to let life hit us and just let it happen and not do anything about it, or are we going to remember our strength, our grit, and our perseverance to be able to do what we know is right for us and for others possibly involved? Now, Denise also had this amazing mom herself. I did not get the privilege of meeting her. However, the stories that she has told makes me just warm in my heart. And we know that she was Denise's role model in life. And not only that, supported her even when some of those decisions may not have been the best. So I knew I was going to love Denise when I first met her. And even more than that, my daughter loves her as well. She was my daughter's very first principal when she graduated from college and got her first teaching job in kindergarten.
That was a blessing to us. She's an amazing teacher.
So shout out to you, Kimber. I know that you love Dr. Mustin just as much as I do. And all of you out there, you're going to love her as well. So please help me welcome my friend, Denise Mustin.
Well, thank you, Sherry.
Thanks for coming and spending some time with me today. I think we're going to have a great conversation. But most importantly, we always do, actually. We always do. But most importantly, I want my audience to know you and hear your story. So I told them a little bit about you, but is there something more you would like for them to know?
Sure. I am as she said, a mom, but I have 4 kids, 2 of which are biological kids, and 2 that are stepchildren that I basically have raised. And so I'm very well aware of what it takes to be a blended family, which is not always easy, but has truly been a blessing. And they have blessed me with 5 grandchildren. I think I'm way too young to be a grandma, but
I agree.
I do love playing with the grandkids. And then, of course, I have 3 fur babies. that I absolutely love because, fur babies, they love you unconditionally. They never talk back. Like, they're wonderful.
Absolutely.
So I've been in education for 30 years, as you said. I've been everything from a classroom teacher to assistant principal, now in central office. And I still enjoy what I do. And, my goal in life is to just be able to make a difference wherever I go. So I'm trying to make a difference now, and I'm looking at where I'll make a difference when I retire.
That's how we are as educators. We do this because it's a calling. And I know that definitely is what has kept you on this path over the last 30 years. So, Denise is here today because our show talks about women who have had those challenges. And you've had a road behind you. So, why don't you tell them a little bit about your story?
Okay. So I had a biological father who left when I was about 2, but he would come around sometimes, every once in a while, and I just always envisioned that we would be close, even if he and my mom were not together. And I distinctly remember one night, I was in 3rd grade, I believe. I had just fixed my hair, had this beautiful pink silk shirt on, and this pretty black dress that twirled when I twirled, and I was so looking forward to having him come. And then I heard the phone ring, and I heard my mom say some things I probably shouldn't say on this show, but I knew immediately that meant he wasn't coming because he had been a no-show before. And but something really resonated that night that this was it. Like he just truly didn't care enough to see me, whether it was he didn't love me or wasn't a priority. I'm not sure what it was, but it hit pretty hard. I remember crying for a very long time. But my mom, my sassy redheaded mom, she would encourage me, and she helped me get through a lot of those times. But because she was strong, I wanted to be strong, and I think that caused me to just kind of push it all down and just go on with life as best I could as a child. And but it wasn't long after that that anxiety really set in. I was very anxious about a lot of things in life, but one of the things I was probably most anxious about was disappointing people, um, teachers, family, friends. I mean, it was I wanted everybody to like me. I didn't want to do anything that was going to make somebody be disappointed in me. I was not. So from that moment till the time I was about 19, I struggled really hard to just make everybody around me
Mm,
happy, to make everybody pleased with me, and that's exhausting.
I can
That
imagine.
I didn't think of it at the time, but looking back, when I began to reflect on my life, I realized that that was very exhausting. And apparently, about the time I was 19, mentally, I just had enough of being good, of trying to please everybody. And I decided it was time to have a little fun. And I was going to find a man that would think I was pretty and that loved me. And so I had been overweight. I've been overweight my entire life, and at that point, I said, "Well, I'm gonna try to get healthy and exercise because I want to look good. I want to look good so I can catch a man." That was my thought. So I went to the gym and was working out. I looked across the gym, and there was this amazingly built guy that just I was like, "Whoa!" Like, and we made eye contact, and he was interested in me, and I thought, "Yes, here it is." He's showering me attention, telling me all these wonderful things that I'd been wanting to hear, and it made me feel so special. And I just thought, "Oh, this is wonderful." And then I eventually took him home to meet mom, and mom was like, no, no."
Like good moms do.
And I was like, "Oh, yes, yes, it's gonna be fine. I'm in control. I know what I'm doing." Um, and I ended up marrying this man and having 2 kids with him. But the real story was that my mom was absolutely correct. He ended up being a very bad man. He was a sexual addict and did everything that most sexual addicts do at some point, which includes cheating on me a lot with other women and who knows who else. I heard stories after the fact, like you typically do, that just kind of blew my mind. But um, for 10 years, I stuck it out, hoping that he would change, that if I pleased him enough, he would stay and not do those things with other women. And when it kind of became apparent that he wasn't going to change, I then started worrying about, now I'm going to disappoint my mom and dad because they told me no. They told me not to marry him. They told me he wasn't probably a good person. And so now I was going to have to let them know that they were right and I was wrong, and I had yet disappointed parents again. Um, but I had reached the point where I said, this can't be all life that like this. This can't be what God has for me. This can't be what my kids deserve. I've got to pull myself up and figure this out. So I actually prayed. I'm a praying person, and I said, God, I'm dense here. I need you to knock me on the head with a sign and tell me what I'm supposed to do, because I'm not. I don't think I'm supposed to divorce, but I don't think I'm supposed to live like this. And when a few minutes after that prayer, I look out the window and he's walking outside and he's got a phone up to his ear. And this is back in the day when we had wireless phones, but they were still connected. They were landlines, and you had multiple lines in your house. So I said, who is he talking to? So I picked up that phone and I kind of listened in for a little bit, and I heard this other lady saying, "Oh, baby, I got supper cooked. I can't wait till you get here. We're going to have an amazing night, blah, 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 blah." So I took a deep breath and I knew that this was it. And I said, "Ma'am, you don't have to wait for a few hours. He's on his way now, and you can keep him forever." And I hung up the phone, went outside, told him to get his bags and get out.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So it took a long time to get to that point, but uh, there's too much in life to put up with things that are not healthy for you, that are not good for you. And so, yeah, that was the start of a new beginning.
So many of us women get to that point. We've had something that's happened when we were younger, usually, that put us on that path of people pleasing. We've all been there, and we just want to be loved. And sometimes there are those that just connect with the wrong people, and then they're just too afraid to take that first step. I am sure there are some listeners right now that are feeling the same way. You had the courage to do it. You found some confidence in yourself. What changed for you? What piece of advice would you give our viewers today if they are in a situation like that?
It took a lot of self-reflection and of reminding myself that I was okay, that I was a strong person. I mean, after all, I had watched my mom, being the fiery person she is. Not only was she a single mom when I was young, and she would often tell me, "Nisi, you take care of you. You need to get a good degree. You need to get a good job. You need to, don't be dependent on no man." She would tell me. She said, "You need to be dependent on you." And she was funny. Another time, burglars were in the house, and she uh, got a call from work. My nosy aunt across the street had called her and said, "Hey, there's somebody in your house." So what did mom do? She didn't call the police. No, mom runs over there, opens the door, takes off her high heels, corners the man, and then when the police finally got there, she's got the man beating him over the head with her high heel.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I
So
should have met your mom.
you should have. She was amazingly strong. So I had to dig deep and know that my mom also wanted me to be a strong person. She had modeled that for me, and that she had showed me that she loved me, and that she wasn't going to be disappointed in me. That was all in my mind, which leads me to one of my things of you got to get out of your mind. Your mind, you can be your own worst enemy. And mine was for so many years. Mine was, you're overweight, you have anxiety, you've made this bad choice, you married this awful man. Everybody knows he's awful. Nobody told you that. Now you know this. And I had to let go of some pride. I had to let go of the idea that I deserved what I got because I had made that decision. Um, and just really dig deep and reflect on, what do I want out of life? What do I want for my kids? I don't want my kids seeing this. I don't want my kids being
Oh, such a good point.
growing up like this or becoming their father because that's
Mhm.
what they're getting role modeled for. And so it took a lot of self-talk, a lot of self-talk, positive self-talk, saying I'm safe, looking around. I woke up another day. I'm breathing. I'm gonna make something of today.
I love that. And it's like that, just take one little step, believe in you and know that you're worth it, you
Hmm.
know? And it's just, I know it's hard sometimes,
Hmm.
especially when you're in the thick of it, but knowing you said something so profound, knowing that not only do we all have role models, but we are role models to others, and our kids look to us for everything in
Hmm.
life, just like you did with your mom.
Hmm. So
Wow.
true.
Earlier in this show, I talked about flowers.
Mm. I
It's
love flowers.
spring.
Mhm.
And every time I think of flowers, I actually think of you. I don't know if you know
Okay.
that, but I really do. And I was at an event this past weekend and we were talking about wildflowers compared to wallflowers. And it
Hmm.
was a women's event. And they were just talking about how so many women are told just to be behind the scenes, take care of the families, stay in that mold, be quiet, don't disrupt the world, and be that wallflower. And then you have the wildflower who they're they're strong. You can cut them down, but they just come back. They just exist, and they're beautiful, and they flow in the wind. And I think about the bluebonnets here. I talked
Hmm.
about the dandelions
Love
because
blue
I'm from
ones.
the
Hmm.
north, and they're beautiful, and they have an impact in the world. I mean, think about
That's
those
true.
bluebonnets. How many people do you know?
I've taken pictures.
Yep, and I bet you did it.
Oh, I did it. My kids have pictures. Like, yes, it's a tradition.
It's a true Texas thing. I didn't do it with my daughter. I really am sure she probably has some kind of scar from it, one
That's okay,
day.
Kimberly. I'll take you.
I know she'll be like going one day, Mom, this happened. I'm depressed, or this happened because you didn't take me to the blue bonnets, but that's a whole nother story. However, I also added in my part though the planned garden, because
Mm.
sometimes you've got this plan and you find this person and they look great, just like you go find these great looking plants,
Mhm.
and then after something that happens, they start to die or they start to fade. We had a really harsh winter, and previous to that, a really dry, hot summer,
Mhm.
and my garden out there looks bad. You saw it. I have to work on it. It's coming. Spring break is next week. But I think that kind of describes a woman too. You either have that beautiful looking woman, and then where do they go when they change, when they're not good enough anymore, just like we take our plants out. And then you have the wallflower who's supposed to stay quiet and just let life happen to them.
Mm.
But then you have wildflowers, and I truly see you as probably one of the most amazing wildflowers.
Yeah. Well, that is loving flowers. That is a compliment. So thank you. Um, but I love that. I love looking at nature for answers and for being a role model because there's so much truth in nature. And what you just said reminds me of the quote that says, "Without a winter, there is no spring." And so you have to go.
Wow.
You have to go through those seasons to
Hmm.
get that beauty. Which also reminds me of a story that I think about from time to time called "The Seed and the Farmer." And it's think about a seed in a little packet, and it's in there with all its little seed friends. They're all alike. They're all enclosed, safe, dry. They're in their little element, happy, fine. They don't want to be disturbed. And then along comes the farmer, and what does he do? He rips open that pack. He takes a seed out by itself, and the seed's like, "Why are you taking me out of what's happening? I don't want to leave my safety zone. I don't want to leave everything that I know, even though it's dark and closed and it's familiar and I don't want to leave it." And then he takes that
Hmm.
farmer and seed, and he sticks it down in the dirt. And the seed's probably thinking again, like, you took me out of my comfort zone, you took me away from my friends, and now what's happening? I'm buried in dirt. Like, this is not what I thought my life was going to be like. And then the farmer pours water over the seed. And the seed's like, what are you doing to me? Why is this happening to me? This is horrible. I'm buried. I'm alone. I'm water. And now my seed shell is cracking open because the water that was poured out on me. So I'm literally breaking and cracking up, which sometimes that happens to us when we're in low places. But then something beautiful happens. The plant stem starts to grow and emerge,
It
and
does.
it stays focused on the goal of getting up through that dirt. And when it gets up through the dirt, it blooms into a beautiful flower, a beautiful
Mm.
tree, and becomes the purpose that it was designed to be the beauty in the world that it was designed to be. And so I think of that often, that yeah, we go through that time where we're pulled out of our safety zone and we're stuck in it, stuck in life where it's not good, in the dirt, water being poured on us. We don't understand why, we don't know where we're going. But ultimately it can just make you stronger and make you just bloom and be that much more beautiful.
I love that. That it took my breath away for a minute.
Mm,
I don't think I've ever heard that story, and it's just so true. We're in bad, but it's comfortable, right? And then we have to go through worse when we're trying to make change sometimes,
mhm.
but then the beautiful product at the end,
Right.
it's all worth it.
All
Oh,
worth it.
just it brings tears to my eyes. It really does,
Mhm.
because I know so many people have been through that, and it truly reminds me of you.
Thank you.
It
Well,
really does.
like I said, I look to that story. It helps me with my mantras that I live with, and one of them is not to let the past define you. So I'm not going to let my bad choices. Yes, they were bad. They're embarrassing sometimes when I think about it, but they're not who I was then. They're not definitely not who I am now. And getting out of my own mind, like
Mhm.
quit thinking about what I should have had, what I could have had, what I would have had, what if, and start just saying, yes, I'm going to take this next step. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to focus on the positive because I'm safe. I'm breathing. There's beautiful things around me. And I'm going to focus on those and not the negative. And we're going to make an impact in this thing called life.
Oh, I love it. See, I told you, you were going to love this time that I had with Denise today. Before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you to you, because I know coming in and sharing your message is important for women all over the
Mhm.
world. But it can be hard. But from what we go through in life, it helps us become stronger. And I truly believe passing it on, paying it forward to someone else, is really something that we should all focus on in the world.
I agree. I definitely think women need to hold each other up, to not be embarrassed to share, and just encourage each other because we all go through some kind of mess. And I think that our mess can become our message to help others get through it.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you for joining us this week on Confident, Courageous, and Clear with Sherry and Denise. And I know that this has been an amazing time for me. I hope you've enjoyed yourself today.
I have. Thank you for inviting me. I feel honored.
Absolutely. And I just appreciate everybody watching. I hope you all have a great week, and really think about what Dr. Mustin said. Your past doesn't define you. And sometimes you just have to get out of your own way. Take that first step, because we can make great things happen in the world.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you once again. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for watching. And I'll see you next week.